Folks, Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig? May 22nd, 2024, coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Black Star Network. House Republicans, I told y'all they are not pro-life. They're calling for drastic cuts, tens of billions of dollars to subsidies for people who need food. We'll talk with Vice President for Food Assistance from the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities about these proposed cuts. We're just 1 week away from the 103rd anniversary of the Tulsa Race Massacre. Justice for Greenwood, Damario Solomon-Simmons will be here to talk about a preview of that. Also, the Democratic-led Senate confirmed President Biden's 200th federal judge today. We'll talk about the importance of these appointments and how they shape the courts for years to come. In our Tech Talk segment, Fed-based founder Isaac Hayes III will talk about the benefits to raise equity crowdfunding. Also, the Crockett Chronicles will be joined by Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. Let's just say she's been getting a little attention today. And we'll talk about today's Oversight Committee hearing. And, ooh, Lord, did she jack up Marjorie Taylor Greene. And the bleached, blonde, bad-built, butch body comment has taken over the internet. It's time to bring the funk. I'm Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Let's go.
He's got whatever the miss, he's on it. Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the find. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now.
Millions of people in the U.S. don't have enough food or access to healthy food. Feeding America says more than 44 million people, including 1 in 5 children, face hunger. In 2022 alone, 49 million people turned to food assistance for extra help. Some 30,000 people, according to the Poor People's Campaign, die every year due to hunger. Now, the House Farm Bill, they're looking at $30 billion in cuts, which of course will affect SNAP benefits. Those cuts include so many different, the cost of a healthy, realistic diet. They also weaken SNAP's effectiveness in reducing food insecurity and poverty. Todd Jones-Cox, Vice President for Food Assistance at the Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, joins us right now. Todd, glad to have you here. Walk us through this here, okay? When we talk about these cuts, first of all, for the people who don't understand, the Farm Bill is one of the biggest bills that Congress passes. And right. Republicans are always trying to make cuts that. Now, they don't cut defense. They always try to make excuses when it comes to SNAP benefits. They always try to make allegations that it is filled with waste, when in fact it is one of the least wasteful programs in all of the federal government. The Department of Defense has failed audits for the last 8 years. So lay out what it is that they're trying to cut.
Yes, and thanks. I'm so glad to be here with you, Roland. So basically, the Farm Bill, as you said, is a big piece of legislation. It includes almost 12 pieces, and it covers everything from conservation, commodities, nutrition, crop insurance. And what's happening, in the legislation, the text that we just saw from House Ag Committee Chair G.T. Thompson, is that in order to pay for ideas and, programs outside of nutrition assistance, they're going to reduce SNAP benefits going forward by $30 billion. So we're talking about in a time where there's high food prices, increasing food insecurity. House Republicans, this proposal is basically saying we would rather cut $30 billion from low-income people who need it and actually to fund other things in our Farm Bill, and it's a big issue. This would be the largest cut to SNAP since 1996, and these cuts will actually grow deeper over time. So every SNAP participant would receive less to buy groceries in future years.
Okay, so explain to people, how much does the average person get right now for SNAP benefits?
Great question. So right now, you get about $6.20 per person per day. That's what we're talking about. $6.20 per person per day to purchase food. So when you look at that number and you think about the fact that people have to purchase healthy food, have to purchase food for their kid, it has to last for a month, people are already overstretched, not able, by the end of the month, they don't have any money left over. So to think about reducing that amount by, even if it was $1, even if it was $2, that is going to have real world impacts. I do want to say a little bit about, SNAP. We've seen from research, it actually reduces food insecurity. It has a huge impact on reducing food insecurity, increasing health outcomes for seniors, for children. It actually serves as a work support, because for when people are out of work or their hours are reduced, if they're on SNAP and they're able to eat, then they're able to continue to work. So SNAP is like our most critical and our most important anti-hunger program that we see has real world results, and it actually reduces racial disparities and inequality and food insecurity.
And so what's the rationale being given?
So the thing with the Farm Bill, right now, there isn't any money. That's what they're going to say, right? There isn't any money in the Farm Bill to pay for all of these other initiatives, ideas, whether we want to give crop subsidies, whatever we want to do, there isn't any money. But what happened in 2021 is that SNAP received a slight boost because it was out of date. So how they determine SNAP benefits, they hadn't really looked at, like, these benefit amounts are super low. So there was a big increase to SNAP in 2021 that actually raised everyone benefits by about $1.40. It has a cost because you're trying to feed people. And now, in order to pay for other things, they're looking at SNAP as basically a piggy bank in the Farm Bill.
Okay.
That makes sense. What I'm saying, it's a lot of money because it's covering 42 million people, right? 42 million people are able to use the SNAP program to help themselves purchase food. And so in order to pay for things, outside of SNAP, we're going to look at SNAP as the piggy bank and an opportunity to pay for our other initiatives. Versus at this time, what really needs to be the focus is protecting and strengthening SNAP, because we are still facing really high rates of food insecurity. Like, people are still hungry right now. And so why would it, at this time, would we think to reduce this program that is so important and so critical and actually has real results? Why would that be the time to cut it?
But also what happens is, so now they're trying to also talk about these work requirements, okay? We're not talking about, okay, again, we talk about how much somebody's getting. Let's just be real clear. People aren't getting like $2,500 a month, right?
Correct. Right. It's based on, like I said,
So from a dollar standpoint, again, what? In fact, there's a press release that y'all put out that said SNAP benefits average, come on, go to my iPad, y'all. You say SNAP benefits average only about $6 per person per day.
Per day, correct.
$6 per day. So that means that if you're hungry and if you do 3 meals a day, then it's $2 a meal.
Tell me what you're eating. Tell me where you're eating. Right. And so that's the people so like you said, so the work requirements, to talk about that really quickly, because there is a lot of misinformation around the requirement. First of all, SNAP is an anti-hunger program. The goal of it is really to provide food assistance for people in need. The bulk of the people on SNAP are children. So we're not expecting children to work. The second largest proportion is seniors and individuals with disabilities. And then when we look at the last slice of people who are on SNAP, it is individuals that are of working age. And the majority of SNAP participants actually work. There's so much evidence showing that. And those who do work, the reason they're still able to get SNAP is because their wages just aren't high enough. And at the end of the day, they don't have enough money to make ends meet. Separately, SNAP is a program that is supposed to be there for when people are out of work or their earnings are reduced. And a lot of people who are on SNAP are in jobs where your hours and wages and everything changes. And so that, most people on SNAP who can work actually do work. And so the fact that to say that people need to have a work requirement in order to make someone work, in order to make someone want to eat, we're not talking about people who do not want to work. People are working. They're not making enough. Also, there's so much evidence showing that work requirements, when they are placed on these programs, actually do not lead to work. Right? They do not lead to full-time employment or better employment. They actually just lead to more hunger. What happens is people get cut off and now they're hungry. And a lot of workers also have children. And so then we're talking about children who aren't able to eat. There's so much evidence that shows that work requirements do not actually work, and that what does work is having a program here like SNAP that is there when people are working, when they aren't working, when they're in between jobs, so that this one less thing they have to worry about in their day-to-day is, what am I going to eat, right? What am I going to eat, and what are my kids going to eat?
And just for folks to understand, when we talk about the budget, go to my iPad. This is the deal. The Defense Appropriations Bill for fiscal year 2024 provides a total of $824.48 billion, which is $26.7 billion more than in 2023. That means that the cost of the cuts, if y'all want to make a comparison, they're trying to pay for this defense increase by essentially cutting food. And what folk also don't understand, Ty, tell us, how many veterans rely on SNAP?
That's a great question. So while the numbers are a little shaky, but we have about 8% of the people who are on SNAP are actually veterans. I don't have the exact number in front of me, but that's a pretty big percentage. And we actually think it's more, the way they're able to count how many veterans are actually in SNAP is those who actually receive veterans benefits, but we know not every vet actually receives veterans benefits. So there's probably even more veterans that are actually on the program than what we're counting with the 8%. So we're talking about people who serve their country, right? Who serve their country, right? And now are having trouble purchasing food. And then, we're thinking it's okay to cut those individuals.
And again, I want everybody, go to my iPad. This is right here from the USDA. Military and veteran families, benefits that you have earned, programs for which you may be eligible: SNAP, WIC, FDPIR, SFSP. So the folk who gives more, so let me explain, the folk who want to give more money to defense, which actually rewards defense contractors, want to cut SNAP when you actually have military families and veterans who use SNAP as well. So folk need to realize, when they jacking the money up for defense, that ain't going to the troops and their families. That's going to defense contractors.
Right. And I want to,
Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to also just emphasize another piece about SNAP, like in addition to that, it impacts the participants, right? But retailers, grocers, farmers, this is a program because it provides a core benefit of food. Like it just has a ripple effect throughout our country and throughout our economy. So it's important for the participants, but it's also important for retailers and communities and farmers. And so this is the program that we need to make sure that we invest.
So first of all, let me put it in a different way than you. If you give the money to folk to buy food, they gonna buy food, which means they're gonna buy it from grocery stores. They're gonna buy it from retail outlets. And again, I still want to go back to here. This is a story that was in Roll Call a year ago. Renewed push is on to help hungry military families. Thousands of service members still experience food insecurity. So when we talk about food insecurity in America, we are also talking about folks who literally are in the military.
So working, right? And so we can't sit and think that people aren't working that are on SNAP. We are talking about military families who are working, not making enough, and still need SNAP. And we need it there for them and all the other families who receive SNAP.
And just final point here on this here, go back to my iPad. Based on the latest Defense Department survey of U.S. troops, some 286,800 in the active duty force, or nearly 1 in 4 military service members, experience food insecurity. 120,000 are faced with very low food security, meaning they periodically eat less, miss meals, or lose weight. The survey indicated the figures do not count the spouses of children of those troops, nor do the numbers include reservists and their families. So the bottom line is this here. They are also impacted by this. But again, the folks who say they love the military, they don't love them in this way right here. Ty, we appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, folks, got to go to a quick break. We'll be right back. Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
All right, thank you.
I wanted the people of Baltimore to hear it from me. I have done nothing wrong.
But I see that what you are trying to do is destroy this black woman for doing her job.
I've heard your calls for no justice, no peace. However, your peace is sincerely needed as I work to deliver justice on behalf of Freddie Gray.
Marilyn was a force to be reckoned with. I was assuming this was all because of Freddie Gray, but it actually is much deeper than that.
Baltimore's top prosecutor, a woman named Marilyn Mosby, was indicted yesterday in the Eastern District of Maryland for perjury. Couldn't help but think about Donald Trump.
This is what you got to deal with when you are a black woman fighting for just causes in America.
Yeah, but just taking on the police, period. She's stepping on their toes.
They want to cross her out of the system so she can't stand up for the preacher.
Reached in the pool and grabbed me and pulled me out.
Imagine if this were you. You would want people to stand in your corner.
I lost my car. I lost my job. I lost my marriage. And I almost lost my mind for a little while.
It's just so much right now, Lord, and I'm just saying, why are you putting all of this on me? I'm about to break.
Next on A Balanced Life with me, Dr. Jackie, summertime when the living is easy, or is it? Summer vacations, class reunions, kids in summer camp, all fun, but stressful. You need to get into a summer mindset and have a plan. Oh yes, our panel gives us their favorite summer planning hacks. On the next A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie here at Black Star Network.
Coming soon to the Black Star Network.
It was my junior year at Georgetown, and Spike calls me and he says, Malcolm, what are you doing next year? So, graduating, you know? He said, take a year off, work on Malcolm X. I said, okay.
But first of all, for the folks who don't know, Spike is
my cousin. Spike is my cousin.
Just the person watching like, how the hell is Spike just gonna tell you that it's true? It's true.
What's up? It's Sammy Roman.
Hey, it's John Murray, the executive producer of the new Sherry Shepherd Talk Show.
It's me, Sherry Shepherd, and you know what you're watching, Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Let's go to our panel. Rebecca Carruthers, Vice President at Fair Election Center out of D.C. A. Scott Bolden, who is of course, lawyer here in D.C., former chair of the National Bar Association. Pat, glad to have both of you. Rebecca, we saw this last time. Again, Republicans, they always are targeting SNAP. They always want to cut benefits. They always are trying to blame these poor people. They're not working. They are the working poor. They are service members. And again, isn't it interesting in this country how we got no problem spending billions upon billions upon billions on defense, but then when it comes to food insecurity, to go, the hell with it, they can deal with it.
We are spending billions of dollars sending it overseas for war. But you're right. But when it comes to feeding Americans, all of a sudden this Congress has a problem with it. And you know what? There's something that I want to let the House Republicans know. Old people vote. and you're literally cutting food and taking food out of the mouths of our elders in this country, they're going to remember that when it comes time to vote. I also want to point out the young people and some of the college students who rely on SNAP benefits because of the amounts of food insecurity, especially in HBCUs. 1 out of 2 students have reported not having enough food in the last 90 days. You know, we also learned during the pandemic when children weren't regularly attending in-person school, we saw that there was a need to step up and provide food for these school children who many of them get their food because of these various programs in the Farm Bill that provides food assistance, especially for Title I schools. You know, and this isn't just a Black problem. This isn't just a Hispanic problem, but there are many poor white people in this country that require on this in order to have at least some type of nutrition. And so the Democratic Party really needs to connect the dots and let people know these people are stealing food out your mouth. They don't think you deserve it. If you've served in the military, you're a current military family, and you do not have enough to eat, so what? So I really want to see how the Democrats are going to connect messaging around this to make sure that people understand, hey, if you continue with this type of House makeup, if you have a Trump administration, Trump is the type of president who will sign off on a bill like this that would reach his desk. So I'm hoping the American public is paying attention, but I'm also hoping that the Democratic Party uses this opportunity to connect with messaging and let people know, hey, there is a stark difference between the two parties.
You know, Scott, I'm sitting here looking at this piece in the New Republic. Stephen, go to my iPad. It says, for most of SNAP's decades-long history, benefits were determined on a cost-neutral basis. The TFP was only updated 3 times, in 1983, 1999, 2006. That changed with the 2018 Farm Bill, which was approved while Republicans controlled Congress and the White House. It says the bill required the TFP to be reevaluated by 2022 every 5 years thereafter. 2021, the Biden administration updated the TFP to increase the maximum monthly SNAP benefit by 21%, averaging out to be a little over $6 in benefits per person per day. This development outraged Republicans who argued that the U.S. Department of Agriculture violated congressional review and resulted in the first ever $1 trillion farm bill. Now, here's what's so crazy. The SNAP benefits, Scott, are not $1 billion. It's the total farm bill. Here's what the Republicans never want to talk about with the farm bill. They never want to talk about all of them subsidies, welfare, being given to largely white farmers to not grow stuff. But they're complaining about people getting money to actually buy food, but they're handing away massive subsidies.
And most of those poor white farmers that they're giving the money to are in the top of the poor states. Top 10 poor states are what, Roland? Red states. But here's another point when you get to that $6 per person per day. It's even worse than that in the sense of the following, right? Michelle Martin, a brilliant journalist who's a colleague of yours, who I'm sure you know, was with ABC about 15 years ago. And she did this piece on poor people and how poor health and what causes poor health with poor people that taxes the healthcare system. You know what it is? It's that they don't have enough money to buy healthy food. They're in food deserts, and the food access to food in their poor communities, whether it's rural America or urban America, these food deserts, the quality of food that they have access to, as limited as it may be, is not of high quality, right? It's high in sugar, high in carbohydrates. It's processed food, right? And so they take that $6 and they buy 3 bags of Cheese Whiz or Cheetos so that they can feed their family, which is completely unhealthy, right? And then what happens? They develop diabetes, right? They develop heart conditions. They develop all kinds of other health challenges that come with poor eating, right? So now you're taxing the healthcare system, right? Everybody's got diabetes now. They have other issues, all because of a poor diet. So the food, or the lack of food service, or the lack of food in these food deserts feeds right into the healthcare challenges and the healthcare crisis, not just in Black America, but all America. It is a vicious cycle that the only people that are benefiting from this, right, aren't the food manufacturers, but the pharmaceutical companies.
In fact, the only good thing in this bill, go to my iPad, is that the House Farm Bill would remove the ban on low-income Americans who have a drug conviction felony from obtaining SNAP benefits. This goes to show you, Rebecca, how shameful and despicable this country is. Oh, if you had a drug felony conviction, they're saying, yeah, you can't apply for food benefits.
You can't eat.
Like, this is literally insane. And even to Scott's point of even calling this food deserts, I'm going to push back. I'm not going to call this food deserts because deserts are a phenomenon that occurs in nature, right? But let's call this food apartheid because there is intentionally, we know that there is redlining with where grocery stores and places to buy fresh food, you know, where they're placed. So this is intentional. None of this is by accident or, oops, we didn't know that there's large swaths of people, mainly Black folks and mainly Hispanic folks who don't have access to quality, affordable food. This is just, it really shows you the priorities in this country. And, you know, it's even as we're talking about the subsidies, and when, like, I'm from the state of Nebraska, there are many farms that receive subsidies there, and these people are multi-millionaires. These aren't people who are literally requiring on this subsidy for their next meal, or that they're going undernourished or malnourished because they don't have proper resources. Instead, these are very wealthy, even the family, most of your family farms now are large super corporations. It's not just your mom and pop farm of the 1930s trying to survive the Dust Bowl. So just for the viewers to understand what's happening here, the priority is in this country is to serve the rich and not the everyday person. And what ends up happening is all of us are paying taxes, but only few at the top are benefiting from shared resources.
Roland, one other thing,
Scott, 1 second. So go ahead. This is the actual farm bill itself. I just want y'all to see what's all in it. You see stuff dealing with acres, non-recourse marketing assistance loans, repayment rates for upland cotton, long grain rice, medium grain rice, sugar allotments, dairy. Then, of course, you have right there SNAP. Look, emergency assistance for honeybees, tree assistance program, assistance in the form of block grants. Then you have other areas, conservation. So really what they want to do is they want to cut $13 billion regarding climate change from this bill as well. As you see, environmental quality incentives programs, conservation stewardship programs, and other programs as well. And then, of course, funding and administration. You've got different programs there, agricultural conservation easement programs. So this bill covers a 5-year period. And so people just need to understand when we talk about the farm bill, it's a whole lot. In fact, the USDA, folks don't realize here, actually has one of the largest banks in the country because they fund projects in places that traditional banks do not. Go ahead, Scott.
You can go to upper northwest Washington, D.C. in the Palisades, find a Whole Foods and even a Safeway or a Giant and look at the food offerings. 10 times more healthy food offerings. You go to Southeast Washington, go to any one of those supermarkets, and I promise you, you have a higher collection or selection rather of saturated foods, foods at high fat, high carbs, and no food education program available in Southeast Washington, right? Poor people can't even get educated on healthy eating because their choices, even when they do have a grocery store there, aren't offering them choices. You can't tell me that's because they're poor and Black versus upper Northwest or the Palisades.
Well, first of all, that's just dealing with food deserts. At the end of the day, they don't even care. They just simply want to cut all benefits whatsoever. And so we'll see what happens with the ballot there. Remember, if it gets the Republicans in the House, it still has to go over to the Senate, where Democrats could potentially block it as well. Gotta take a break. We come back. We're going to talk about the 103rd commemoration of the Tulsa Race Massacre. Also, we'll be joined by Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett on today's show. Boy, she's got folks talking with her going after Marjorie Taylor Greene. Plus, we'll talk about equity crowdfunding and benefits. In addition to that, we also will deal with the 200th federal judge confirmed under President Biden. And he's appointed the most black federal judges of any president in American history, including President Barack Obama. Folks, support the Black Star Network by joining our Bring the Funk fan club. Send your check and money order. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered. PayPal, R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com. Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Download the Black Star Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. Back in a moment. First, President Barack Obama's road to the White House. We got about 500 copies of the book available. And so this actually is all of the coverage of the 2008 election. But the other thing is this here. I talked to folks like Malik Yoba, Hill Harper, Erica Alexander, Kevin Lau, Spike Lee, Tatiana Ali. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff in here as well, where I talked about some of the stuff that went down at CNN. Also, when you go through here, a lot of the photos that you see in here, photos that I actually shot, photos that were my time at CNN. And so what I decided to do, because one, I published the book and I own it myself, is that so I said, you know what, I'm going to slash the price to $10. I'm not reprinting the book. So once we are sold out of these 500, that's it. They're gone. So you can go to RolandSMartin.com/the-first to get a copy of this book. Everybody who orders this book through the website, not on Amazon, only through RolandSMartin.com. I will personally autograph and mail you a copy of this book. It's all of the covers, the actual interviews that I did with him. And just to show you, of course, when it came out, there's actually even in here the interviews that I did with him and Michelle Obama, which won TV One Cable Network's its first 2 NAACP Image Awards. And so all of that for $10, go to RolandSMartin.com the first and order your copy today.
Next on Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, women of color are starting 90% of the businesses in this country. That's the good news. The bad news, as a rule, we're not making nearly as much as everyone else. But joining us on the next Get Wealthy episode is Betty Hines. She's a business strategist, and she's showing women how to elevate other women.
I don't like to say this openly, but we're getting better at it. Women struggle with collaborating with each other. And for that reason, one of the things that I demonstrate in the sessions that I have is that you can go further together if you collaborate.
That's right here on Get Wealthy, only on Black Star Network.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm Devon Franklin. It is always a pleasure to be in the house. You are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered. Stay right here.
Between May 31st and June 1st, 1921, white supremacists in Tulsa, Oklahoma caused millions of dollars in damage, killed hundreds of black residents in what we know as the Tulsa Race Massacre. 2 folks are still survivors. Centenarians Mother Randall and Mother Fletcher continue to fight for justice. What's going to be taking place, of course, next week. In addition to the gala is also going to be a short documentary about Black Wall Street and the Tulsa Race Massacre premiering on the anniversary of the massacre. Damario Solomon-Simmons, founder of Justice for Greenwood, joins us right now. Damario, what's happening? So,
what's going on, my dude?
What's this doc?
Hey, Mini Doc, we got a national partnership with Lush Cosmetics throughout the nation. And to kick this off on May 31st, the 103rd anniversary of the massacre, we're having a mini documentary about the work that we're doing to secure justice and reparations, not just for our 2 lovely young ladies who are 110 and 109, but the entire Greenwood community.
So, and where's it airing?
It is airing in Tulsa, Oklahoma at the Circle Cinema. And
right, so it's going to be airing there, but it's airing on...
Yes, on June 1st, we'll be airing it. You can go to greenwoodisstillburning.com, greenwoodisstillburning.com, and we're going to air it, premiere nationwide on our website.
Now, you're also still waiting to hear from the Oklahoma Supreme Court, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. As you know, on April 2nd, we gave our actual oral argument in front of the Oklahoma Supreme Court. We need 5 out of the 9 justices to come back with a yes vote, and they're not telling us if we actually won the case yet. We're just asking them them to allow us to move forward into discovery and towards the trial. We hope and praying and have everyone to be praying that we get a decision as soon as possible. Time is of the essence. We do know that the Oklahoma Supreme Court takes a recess at the end of June all the way to September. So hopefully, fingers crossed and praying every day that we get a decision before June 30th.
So, walk through the events that will be taking place next week.
So my sister, Dr. Tiffany Crutcher, the Terrence Crutcher Foundation, it's her 4th annual Legacy Fest. And so on May 31st and June 1st, which is the 103rd anniversary of the massacre, we have a multitude of events happening. You already talked about our mini doc that we're doing that night on May 31st. She also has other events with book readings and other things to empower the community. And then we're going to have a commemoration concert with Brother Anthony Hamilton. And I heard that we have this fantastic, unbelievable host, June 1st.
Gotcha. So everything
2024.
All happening on
May 31st and June 1st.
Got it.
Because those are the 2 days of the massacre. The massacre, a lot of people don't understand, lasted over 2 days. It took them about 12 hours to break the defenses of the black men that was protecting Greenwood. Once they were able to break through the defenses, then they were able to pour into Greenwood. And you know, at one time, Roland, according to the National Guard General, writing in his after action report, he said that when he got on the scene, there were 20 to 25,000 whites tearing up everything in Tulsa and Greenwood. And they did it over a 2-day period. Mm-hmm. And I heard that we got this amazing host for June 1st to host the Anthony Hamilton concert.
Who's that?
Some guy who plays a little club named Roland Martin that plays a little club called Alpha.
Well, first off, for all the people who didn't remind them, we did start off as a study club, and you never have associated Omegas with study.
Hey, you know what? It's your show, man. I'm just going to do it.
But that's also a fact. So just let you know that. So
well, I think the founder of Black History Month, Dr. Carter G. Woodson, was considered a scholar. That's just one.
You had to follow those who study.
Well, as you call it, the study of Negro history is what he founded his organization.
Yeah.
The Association for the Study of Negro History. Okay, well, we made history too.
Actually, you didn't.
Absolutely, every day.
Yeah, okay.
Like I said, I had to come on here to validate every once in a while. Y'all, the audience, they've been missing me. No, I come on here to validate to make sure everything's good.
Everybody knows this is an absolute lie. So whether I got to deal with you, Cap, or Scott, both of y'all belong to youth groups, but that's the reality.
What's up, Scott? You hear this? You hear this craziness?
He knows. Without Alpha, they Cap aside. See? And y'all took one of our colors. So both of y'all are frankly biters.
Hey, just zoom in on these cufflinks.
No, that's not going to happen.
Zoom in on these cufflinks.
I guarantee it's not going to happen. First of all, a small cufflink, because the Alpha cufflinks, they can see them from where they are right now.
Oh, man.
See how it is? All right, y'all, we got a trailer for the documentary. Let's go ahead and show that because all this drivel you're hearing is really not
check out this trailer.
Not helping you at all.
It's short. It's just 22
seconds. All right, y'all go ahead
seconds.
and show the trailer.
When you talk about the 1921 Tulsa Race Massacre, you're talking about the worst act of domestic terrorism in the history of this country.
When you look at this photo, anybody in their right mind would demand justice for Greenwood.
Greenwood is still burning. So there was a lot of activity around the 100th.
Right.
I remember they had the big so-called conference or whatever taking place at the convention center.
Right.
So I'm curious to know what happened. Because again, you always have folks showing up for the anniversary stuff.
Right.
But did they come back? Did they do anything?
No, I mean, as you know, Roland, we were calling for reparations, and the city of Tulsa, as you know, raised about $30 million that they used for themselves to build their own museum and to continue to promote themselves and whitewash their reputation. And as you know, they took out a full-page ad in the USA Today and falsely said the city of Tulsa was leading the nation in racial healing. And since that time, we've been asking for, hey, you need to do something for those who suffered the massacre, that's the living survivors. At that time, we had 3 living survivors. Unfortunately, we lost my guy, Uncle Red, Hughes Van Ellis, at 102 years old back in October. And we've been fighting every day to try to get those individuals and the community to see justice. And nothing has happened. There hasn't been any reparations paid, hasn't been anything built. No land has been given back. We can't even get a proper apology from people who actually perpetrated the massacre. That's the city of Tulsa, the chamber, Tulsa County, Tulsa Sheriff's Office, and obviously the Oklahoma Military Department.
So here's what I'm talking about. So I remember at the convention center that there's a big economic event. Go to my iPad. And so they called it Black Commerce Street. It was all this sort of stuff. It was presented by J.P. Morgan Chase. Have y'all at Justice for Greenwood heard from J.P. Morgan Chase since? Have they come and talk about funding any initiatives, anything like that?
Now, I would have to say with J.P. Morgan, yes, we have had some conversations with J.P. Morgan. It's a brother out of Dallas that's looking to do some things, particularly into the community.
Right.
So we're very thankful for that.
But any commitments? That was 3 years ago.
We haven't received any commitment at Justice for Greenwood.
That's my point.
But I do know, I will say, to be fair to J.P. Morgan, they have done something in Tulsa with some business incubation, business incubator type development.
Okay. All right. So this here was these, and I purposely took these photos presenting sponsors. What has Nationwide done?
To my knowledge, nothing. To my knowledge.
Okay. All right. So you say J.P. Morgan is doing some stuff. What has the Bank of Oklahoma done?
To my knowledge, nothing.
Okay. Combs Enterprises was on here. That's Diddy's company. Anything?
To my knowledge, nothing.
Deloitte Digital. Anything?
To my knowledge, nothing.
Okay. Salesforce.
Again, to my knowledge, nothing.
Walmart.org.
To my knowledge, nothing.
All right. Let me see here. I think there was another. Okay. Silver sponsors. Capital Group.
To my knowledge. To my knowledge, and when I say to my knowledge of Justice for Greenwood, we have about 1,000 descendants in our network. And to my knowledge, I don't know of anything that any of these organizations that are listed here have done for any of the descendants or something that really tangibly benefits North Tulsa or Greenwood.
That's my point.
Right.
National Association of Counties.
I don't know of anything.
Category, I don't know what Category Pirates is, but Category Pirates?
Not to my knowledge.
Moet Hennessy?
Not to my knowledge.
First Oklahoma Bank?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, First Oklahoma Bank is a very, it's a bank full of transparency. I bank with them, and they support the community. They support a lot of businesses in the community, great folks at First Oklahoma, so I can vouch for them.
I'm not sure what that M is. I don't know what that company is. I have no idea. Prudential?
Not to my knowledge.
Public Service Company of Oklahoma?
Again, not to my knowledge. That's specifically for black people who suffered the massacre and are still suffering the continuing harms of the public nuisance. I'm not aware.
Prosperity Bank?
I'm not aware.
QT?
QT is one of the biggest companies in Oklahoma. They do a lot of things in the community, but I don't know if anything specifically related to the massacre.
Boeing?
Again, they have a big footprint in Oklahoma, but I don't know anything specifically related to the massacre or improving the conditions, the public nuisance conditions where black people live 11 to 14 years less than white Tulsans. I don't know of anything that Boeing is doing.
Vast.Bank?
Only thing I know about Vast.Bank is they're one of the many, many white-owned organizations or businesses that have recently moved into the Greenwood community, and they're very proud to be in the Greenwood community, but I don't know of anything economically development related for black people or Greenwood descendants.
And the Executive Leadership Council, that's obviously the group of black corporate folk, but has EOC done anything? Have they reached out to y'all? Has anything happened?
I have not had any dealings with ELC as an organization. I will say John Rogers, who is of Area Capital, he is a descendant. He's a descendant of J.B. Stratford, who was the richest man in Greenwood,
right,
and owned the Stratford Hotel, was a multimillionaire attorney and real estate mogul. John Rogers has been very active with us. He's a supporter of us.
But the John's the individual. Right. This is ELC, the organization.
Not to my knowledge.
And so, so when we were in Tulsa, I purposely took photos of the banners.
Right.
Because every year I bring this up.
Right.
Because for me, this was a big old event. They had all kind of folk here, all kind of potential investors.
Right.
And for folk who understand, everybody who's watching at home understand. So let me explain to you how this thing went down, okay? So there were literally two events happening.
Right.
You had the white folks event. That's what this was. Okay, and there was black involvement happening at the convention center. Then you had the actual black folks event happening at the cultural center.
Which was Tiffany Crutcher and myself.
There you go.
Leading that.
And so I went down to cover this. And in fact, what happened was I was supposed to speak I was supposed to speak on a panel. Y'all were trying to get folk not to participate in this here. I wanted to purposely participate because I wanted to actually ask every company represented what were they actually doing.
Right.
But Biden was actually speaking, and the Secret Service was closing the road off. You had to be in the zone by a certain time. So I could not speak on the panel.
Right, I remember that.
So I wasn't happy that I could not confront them directly.
That's what you said you wanted to go do and confront them.
Right, I said, no. I want to be on the panel. I said, because somebody needs to say, if y'all sponsoring this conference, because here's my problem, and it's not just with this event, it's with a lot of these events all around the country. Folks sponsor events. They sponsor summits. They sponsor these things. And
pennies on a dollar.
And and the organizing entity, they get those dollars to put on the event. Folk then able to get selfies, photos, run press releases, put it on social media, make themselves look good. But then what are you actually building in the community? So I just think, although y'all don't participate, I still think Justice for Greenwood should be contacting each one of these entities, saying, "All right, y'all came to Tulsa, 3 years ago, big old fanfare. What y'all gonna do?"
Right. I mean, that's the conversation that we for sure we've had with JP Morgan Chase, because not only did they come to the event and make a big deal while they're in Tulsa, through our research, we found that out of the 25 banks that were in Tulsa at the time, and, many of the banks, when our people's bank books, so people don't understand, back in the 1920s, you had a bank book, and that's how much you knew how much money you had in the bank. Well, the bank books were destroyed or stolen or burnt up, so they couldn't get their money out the bank. So these banks just kept their money. So not only did they lose everything, they didn't get any insurance benefits.
Which banks?
Well, all those banks are now owned by two banks.
Okay.
One of the entities is JP Morgan Chase.
Right.
And the other entity is Bank of Oklahoma.
Okay.
And so we have been trying to talk to both of those entities and say, you have a specific obligation to the community because this money was taken by these banks that you now own.
So y'all been trying to talk to them. What happened?
So far, we have not gotten what we want to get to.
Okay. Have y'all had meetings with key executives? Who have y'all?
We have, I don't know if we have the right people, so maybe you can help us get to the right people.
Okay, so I think y'all should be demanding a meeting with Jamie Dimon, who is the CEO of JP Morgan Chase. Damn it, the other people below him. No, y'all should be saying, this is what we want. And since it's next week's, I would actually make sure he gets that, I can get it to a couple of people who put it in his hand, but it needs to be him and whoever's the CEO, was he said First Oklahoma Bank?
Right.
That's who y'all need to be meeting with. Y'all need to demand a meeting. We want a meeting.
Bank of Oklahoma.
Bank of Oklahoma. Y'all should be saying, we want a meeting with the CEO of both of those banks to discuss this very issue. That should be the conversation.
I like it. Let's make it happen. And while we're doing that, the insurance companies
are here.
The insurance company. Hey, go ahead. Make it happen. Don't just talk about it. Make it happen.
That's my point.
Don't just talk about it. Make it happen.
Hold on. First, you talking to the wrong one now, because I will literally send that text message.
Let's do it.
To his number 2.
I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. I'll stay here and we'll go to New York together.
Okay.
Let's make it happen.
So
and while we're doing it,
you mentioned insurance. No, go ahead. What's insurance companies?
The insurance companies. We're talking about. So, for instance, the Hartford. We spoke with the Hartford's general counsel. We've spoken with, and then they kicked us over to the DEI person, which was a fantastic.
No.
But we wait a minute. This is not about DEI. This is about what you owe.
They always want to see you to the Negro whisperer.
That's right.
No.
That's right.
Okay, so y'all talking.
And she was a fantastic person, by the way.
Don't mean nothing. She ain't got no P&L responsibility, and she got no budgetary responsibility. So y'all met. Okay, Hartford. You said the Hartford what?
Hartford Insurance Company.
Okay, who else?
We're talking about AIG.
Okay.
All right, we're talking about Chubbs.
Those three.
Those three insurance companies own the insurance companies that refuse to pay insurance claims for the Tulsa Race Massacre.
All right, so here's your homework.
Okay.
Here's your homework. This is your homework. Okay.
All right.
This is your homework. And that is, y'all need to be. Draft letters.
We have letters
to the CEOs.
We can just change off
That's fine.
From the general counsel to the
CEOs of all 5. So the 3 insurance companies and the 2 banks.
Okay.
Do that. As soon as y'all draft that, send it off. Get us a copy. We'll put it on the show, and then again contact them about conversation because, and I still say this here, you ought to be contacting, and I'll happily text you these photos that I took.
Thank you very much,
Every single one of these companies saying, you came there for the photo op.
Right.
What are you doing?
Right. You know, there's a lot of individuals came too. Can we contact them too?
No, we're going to deal with the companies first. See,
Okay.
I'm going with the money first.
Okay.
We're going with the money first. Okay. And then we can get to those folks as well because this is my biggest problem with most of these events. It's photo ops.
Yeah, and they whitewash this.
And it's what I call large check, small amounts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Big ass check they present, and it's $5,000.
Right.
Bring the small ass check for the small amount.
Right.
Now,
you're a $1 billion organization. We supposed to feel good.
Right.
About,
don't come with that big ass check. I mean, that don't do nothing for me.
Right.
And so again, so that to me is how then you tell the folk if y'all stand with us. No, we want y'all tweeting this out, posting this, things along those lines, because that's the pressure that has to be brought to bear when it comes to these entities. Again, they love talking what they doing, but as I always say, I'm going to praise you for direct deposits.
But see, this was one of the main things, and everything you said is right on point, Roland. But as you know, during that time period, a lot of these entities their money was being diverted to this museum that the city was supporting to build for tourism. So people can feel good, like, oh, I gave to that museum, I'm absolved here.
No.
But that money has not trickled down to the actual survivors, the descendants, or the black community
that's my point.
That's suffering today.
That's my point. And then when you do that, and say, we're going to put a number on this. I mean, because that's what I'm talking about.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about because I'm just tired of there being gatherings that are photo op opportunities and we getting played and pimped.
Right.
And it's not real economic development taking place.
None at all. It looks no different from the time you were there. I mean, you came to Tulsa 10-something years ago. It's no different in North Tulsa. In fact, it's worse.
Like, for instance, every single one of these companies should be advertising with Black Wall Street Times. See, so what I'm talking about isn't just, I'm not interested in community grants.
Right.
I'm talking about
business.
I'm talking about contracts.
Right. Business.
Businesses.
Right.
And that is every single one of those companies, they've got transportation companies, catering companies, audiovisual companies, they got PR companies, they got professional services for law firms, they got professional services for accounting firms. So the question is, all right, what black law firms are you? See, so those are annual dollars.
Right.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right. I mean, this is why your show is so important and what the work you're doing. I mean, you're the only person in the nation that's doing this on a national daily service. And I hope everybody understands why we have to support you so much, because you're talking about things that actually matter beyond some headlines, beyond some gossip, beyond some pop culture. You're talking about business, contracts, annual money that we can actually build our communities up. And it's very, very important. And you're absolutely right. Everybody came in and they wanted to leverage the Black Wall Street story. And that's another thing. They kind of co-opted the whole Greenwood story because they wanted to make it all about capitalism and pull yourself up by the bootstraps. That is not what created Greenwood. That's not what created the greatness of the black community called Greenwood. It was cooperative economics. It was land ownership. It was a decision, a freedom mind state to say, we want to create for ourselves and recirculate the dollars amongst ourselves. Now, of course, there was segregation, but segregation is not the reason for Greenwood.
Right.
Segregation, they said, okay, we see what you're doing. We'll be good over here.
Right. Well, here's the deal. So, yeah, I'll be there next Saturday.
That's right.
But let's get these letters. Let's get it to them. Then we're going to follow up, pushing them and putting that pressure on them as well and say, no, damn that. Damn a meeting with the no. Jamie Dimon and his leadership team. And then we're going to sit here. Matter of fact, let me just look right now here because, I don't play this. J.P. Morgan Board of Directors.
Who's on the board? Who's black on the board?
Go to my iPad.
I think Melanie Hobbs is on the board, isn't she?
Okay, our leadership right here. Let's see here. This is the board of directors. Alicia Bowler Davis. Oh, boom! Melanie Hobson is on the board of J.P. Morgan. This is the operating committee. Here we go. Got it. All right, not a problem. So here's the whole deal. You get me your Jamie Dimon letter. I will send it to Melanie Hobson. I will text it to her directly.
Done. And we're going to come back and we're going to talk about it.
That's how I roll.
Let's do it. Let's do it. It's a done deal, and we're going to come back and report on it and see what happens from there.
And then you said AIG?
I said AIG. I said Chubb. I said Hartford.
AIG board.
I can even show you the letters that we got back from these entities.
Oh, good. No, send me those too.
Those would be interesting for you to talk about.
Ed Dandridge, EVP, Chief Marketing Communications Officer. I think I know Ed. I think I met Ed before. But that's easy. Let me see here, because I think, I thought they have a board. Oh, AIG board directors. Here we go. James Cole's a brother. He's on their board. Diana Murphy. Okay, they got one brother. Okay, so I'm gonna track homeboy down. What did you say? Hartford what?
Hartford, the Hartford Insurance Company.
Hartford.
H-A-R-T.
Insurance company. Okay.
Yeah.
Make sure you say Hartford.
No, I'll help you out, Alpha.
Now you know doggone well.
I'm helping you out. I was helping you out, man.
You know I don't need
on your show. I don't want you looking bad. Want the Twitter fear talking about Roland can't spell.
You know I don't need no help from you.
You are a national guy.
Well, this is their agent home about. Let's see here. There we go. Leadership. Let me see here. All right, Christopher Swift. So we're gonna make sure that letter goes to Christopher Swift. I don't want to see that DEI stuff. I don't want to see none of that. And I ain't got nothing against DEI, but that's not where the power is.
Right, it's not where the power is. It's not where the budget is. It's not where the money is.
There you go.
And this is not about diversity, inclusion, equity, and inclusion. This is about the money that they did not pay.
It's about the money.
People had contracts, and they didn't affirm them.
I'm not sure the Hartford is a public company, but we're going to find out their board of directors, and we're going to hit those folks too. But yeah, that's how we're going to do this thing. So
Justice for Greenwood, that's what I'm talking about.
You get me the letters, and we'll get that going.
Got you.
All right.
No problem.
I appreciate it.
All right, always. Hey, always good to be with you, my dude.
Absolutely.
And we can't wait to get you to Tulsa.
Your life has been improved. You just touched it out. I'm going to lay hands on you. Going to a quick break. Coming right back. Isaac Hayes III, fan base. Then we'll be chatting with Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. We'll be right back on the Black Star Network.
Nobody knew that healthcare could be so complicated.
Trump was a failure on healthcare.
Hundreds of thousands of Black Americans lost healthcare insurance. That is outrageous.
And if he's president again, he would cancel insurance for millions more of us.
We cannot go back. President Biden and Vice President Harris have lowered healthcare premiums and expanded coverage for Black families. They also capped the price of insulin at $35. Joe Biden is getting the job done for people just like me.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Fanbase is pioneering a new era of social media for the creator economy. This next generation social media app with over 600,000 users is raising $17 million, and now is your chance to invest. For details on how to invest, visit startengine.com/fanbase or scan the QR code. Another way we're giving you the freedom to be you without limits.
Next on A Balanced Life with me, Dr. Jackie, summertime when the living is easy, or is it? Summer vacations, class reunions, kids in summer camp, all fun, but stressful. You need to get into a summer mindset and have a plan. Oh yes, our panel gives us their favorite summer planning hacks. On a next A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie here at Black Star Network.
This is Essence Atkins.
What's the love king of R&B, Raheem Devon?
It's me, Sherry Shepard, and you know what you're watching.
You're watching Roland Martin, Unfiltered.
Massive changes have happened when it comes to raising money these days for companies. Crowdfunding is a huge way to do it. The rules have changed, which also make it a lot easier for Black entrepreneurs. Isaac Hayes III, founder of Fanbase, joins us right now. Isaac, glad to have you back for Tech Talk. We talk about crowdfunding. We can thank President Barack Obama and his administration for helping push that, where the rules were changed in terms of how much you could raise, correct?
Yes, absolutely. 2015, the Jobs Act was launched, and it was signed into law. And basically, it removed the accredited investor regulation, which means anybody, any American, anybody can invest in an early stage startup, regardless of their net worth or annual income. So when you hear of these these massively huge tech companies that were funded by venture capitalists or angel investors. Now it gives the opportunity for the general public to be one of those people. And so that law came into effect in 2015. And that is what I've been using and what I've used successfully to raise capital for fan base. And so it's a way for people to actually have equity in corporations that can scale to millions and billions of dollars. And you can have, the great opportunity that all these other people have that are already rich to invest and put money into a startup and then have it turn into a big return.
So there are a lot of different folks out there. You got Start Engine, you got Republic, so you've got multiple platforms.
Yes. So WeFunder, Republic, Start Engine, which is the one I use, they all offer the same kind of like opportunity. Some of them have different ways that you can raise capital. I went with Start Engine at the time, and Start Engine is now probably the #1 company that allows you to do equity crowd fundraising. The way that it works is that these corporations have often had a hard time raising capital for businesses. So small businesses, anybody. Let's say you want to open up a bakery or, a hair salon or whatever, film a movie or start an app. It's hard to get people to give you money, especially in the Black community. We don't have access to capital from venture capital, or the banks don't loan us money. So now we can crowd from our community and actually raise that capital. But the difference is this is not GoFundMe. This is not WeFunder. This is not a donation. These are actually stock investments where you actually have, in equity and ownership in the company. And so these have sprouted up, and they really serve as a great opportunity for Black people, especially Black people, to actually, fund their businesses. And I've helped, multiple companies actually go to Start Engine and raise capital. The Black Bread Company, Crown and Hops, Borrow App, Switch App. These are all companies that I helped raise capital on Start Engine. So I tell everybody, if you really want to have an alternative way to try to raise capital for your business, equity crowdfunding is something you should absolutely try.
And obviously for investors, everything is a risk, but this also is a way for small investors to be able to be a part of the process where normally you get locked out when it comes to making the real money when these companies go public.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of times with these rounds, let's say you're investing in a tech startup, sometimes the minimums to invest are $50,000, $100,000, $250,000. With my platform and with what we've done on our campaign for Fanbase, which you can invest in now on Start Engine, the minimum to invest is $399. At $665 a share, you get 60 shares of stock in Fanbase, right? And Fanbase is now valued at $160 million. So there is risk involved, but I always say this is oftentimes when we have this this large amount of capital in the Black community, that there's spending power that we have, but a lot of it goes towards luxury goods and non-essentials. And I always talk about this, that, instead of buying something or using this money on something that, you normally might waste or leisurely, what you can do with your money, but you can just say, let me take $400, $600 and invest and actually get some equity in a company. And the reason why that's important is because my mission is to continue to scale Fanbase higher and higher till it is a multi-billion-dollar company. Right now, we're valued at $160 million, but you got to put that in perspective where platforms like Facebook are a $2.2 trillion company, right? ByteDance, which owns TikTok, is a $350 billion company. Instagram, separated from Facebook, is a $300 billion company. So even if Fanbase gets to $100 billion, which would be phenomenal, out of this world, that's still 1,000x return on the money that you put in. And those are the things that are important. That's why you see the rich getting richer, because they put 5,000, 2,000, 3,000 to a company. It winds up being a 5,000x return, a 100x return, a 2,500x return. And then you keep doing that over and over again. So I tell everybody, that's how we got to kind of invest in our businesses. And then especially with social media, because Black culture contributes so much to social media. We're the music, we're the dances, we're the comedy, we're the skits, we're the culture, we're the fashion, we're all these things. But we don't own Instagram, we don't own Facebook, we don't own TikTok, we don't own X, we don't own Snapchat, we don't own Facebook. And I want us to be able to own these social media platforms. And so I've already successfully raised $10 million in previous rounds, but now I'm launching this new round where we're raising $17 million. And my call to action is for your viewers and everybody who's watching to invest just $600 into Fanbase. If we get 28,650 people to invest $600 in Fanbase, we raise $17 million. And that gives Fanbase the capital to scale faster, build faster, do all these amazing things. And so that's what I'm looking forward to in launching this new round that we got going on.
Is there a limit? The last question, I'm going to go to my panel. Is there a limit to how many times you can do a crowdfund?
No, actually, well, there's a limit. In Reg CF, which limited us before, the most you can raise is $5 million in a calendar year. When you go to Reg A, which is what we're doing now, you can raise up to $75 million in a year. So we're raising 17. So there's not a limitation. There's a limitation on how much you can raise, but not how many times, how many rounds you can raise. And the maximum that you can invest for anybody, this round is open for accredited and non-accredited investors. So if someone wants to put $1 million into Fanbase, they can invest and put $1 million and get shares in Fanbase, or the $3.99. So it's open for the big boys and the little guys to all come together and have equity and ownership in the company.
Gotcha. Scott, your question?
Okay, hey man. All right, so I got $600. I want to invest. So yes. I might invest more than $600. So what do I have to do, kind of step by step, in order to give you $600 or to invest in Fanbase for your crowd, for your fundraise?
Yeah, so the first thing you would do is you would go to startengine.com/fanbase, right? And it will pull up our campaign page. Once that campaign page, you will see a button that says Get Equity. And then once you do, a few things happen when you invest in Fanbase. The first thing that it does is your money goes into escrow. So it's between the transition. It sits there while the platform does like a money laundering background check. It checks out to make sure that the funds are valid and they're okay. Once those funds are accepted, they move into a pool and you have to confirm your investment. So you'll get another email saying, all right, look, your funds have cleared. Do you want to invest in Fanbase? Because they want to give investors the opportunity to make sure that they're making the right decision. And I love it. So they'll be able to do that. You know, you can click and it says Get Equity, boom. Then it sits in escrow. Then what happens is once you hit that accept and that money hits our bank account, then you are finally invested in Fanbase and have equity in the platform. So I think, like I said, people like you that have $6,000, it's just incredible and amazing that I think that, you know, we can take this opportunity to have people to come on and invest. And if you see right now, you see where we previously crowdfunded on the screen right now, 10 million, just hit $1.2 million raised. So that's another milestone that we just hit. And so again, $600, if we get 28,650 people to invest in Fanbase right now, we raised $17 million, and it gives us the money to scale. And I'm going to catch these platforms. That's what this money is raised for: protecting our IP, scaling up infrastructure, building up the company, hiring more employees, doing catch-up functions. So a lot of these things are, amazingly important and crucial for us to do this. And I'm the only founded social media platform in existence that's giving anyone the opportunity to actually have equity in the company. Actually have ownership, stock. Like when you see these companies that wind up being multi-billion-dollar companies, that's the reason. So you can go to startengine.com/fanbase, click Get Equity, $6.65 a share. You'll get, for $3.99, you'll get 60 shares of Fanbase. But I always say 600 because that's just a nice number that I feel like will actually round out and say you'll get more than 60 shares, which will actually help us close the gap on raising this capital for our round, and it'll make things move a lot faster for the company.
Rebecca?
I might have to change my mind. You got to source my money and everything?
We got to do a background check on you. Rebecca?
No, man.
Hey, Isaac. Thank you so much for being here tonight. So tell us more about your experience with being a Black founder. The reason why I'm asking, I saw your post the other day where you were talking about that messaging app that was able to raise a couple $100 million. And it turns out that they had a bunch of fake user accounts. So tell us what it's been like actually trying to start this up as a Black founder, and then what it's been like with even talking to VCs and trying to raise money.
Ooh, that's a good one. So, well, most importantly, I think angel rounds, which I had to do, and I just invested in myself. To be totally frank, I went out on a limb and took $200,000 of money that I did not have to spend to build an app to build Fanbase. And so I spent $200,000 building the very first version of Fanbase. And my reason for doing that is so that I would have to prove myself, so that I couldn't walk in there on a sheet of paper and just say, hey, I want to build an app, and somebody cut me a check for $20 million, like a lot of white founders do. Sometimes these founders get cut checks without even proving they can build anything. But I knew, as a Black founder, I knew that the odds would be against me. So I put my money where my mouth is and spent $200,000 to build the app. Once we did that, COVID hit and we really couldn't move. But one of the things that I noticed is that there's such an inequity that exists between the ability for Black people to raise capital from venture capitalists, or who are the primary people that fund these startups, and everybody else. I think in 2023, to be exact, I think less than 0.5% of all the venture dollars, the billions and billions of dollars that went to companies, less than 0.5% went to Black founders. That's how hard it is for Black people to raise money for venture capital. But then you have these guys that can have 95% fake users and raise $200 million from SoftBank, and it's just crazy. So it's an uphill battle for us. But the thing that I think is on our side, especially, and I speak specifically about social media, is that's something that I know that is really what we leverage. It's really what we make popular, what we make, trendy and actually valuable. And so I said, well, who better than to give equity to than the community of people that make Instagram cool, that make TikTok cool, that make Snapchat cool, that make, these platforms cool. So that is my goal, is to say, look, we need to have ownership in these companies, and we all ride together. And then when fan base exits eventually or gets acquired, we go do it again with another app or another business. And we keep repeating this because we need to turn our creations, we need to turn our innovations into acquisitions. Because if not, we are customers to our creations. And that's the thing that I say that's extremely important. We're customers to Instagram. We're customers to TikTok, right? But we should actually own these platforms. We should actually have equity in these platforms that we scale. So it's been challenging, but it's definitely down racial lines for sure. I'm here to do it. I'm gonna keep doing it.
All right, Isaac, we appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot. All right, be well, folks. Again, startengine.com/fan base. When we come back, we're gonna talk Black federal judges. President Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris make history with the number of Black federal judges appointed. They ain't done yet. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network.
I wanted the people of Baltimore to hear it from me. I have done nothing wrong.
But I see that what you are trying to do is destroy this Black woman for doing her job.
I have heard your calls for no justice, no peace. However, your peace is sincerely needed as I work to deliver justice on behalf of Freddie Gray.
Marilyn was a force to be reckoned with. I was assuming this is all because of Freddie Gray, but it actually is much deeper than that.
Baltimore's top prosecutor, a woman named Marilyn Mosby, was indicted yesterday in the Eastern District of Maryland for perjury. Couldn't help but think about Donald Trump.
This is what you got to deal with when you are a Black woman fighting for just causes in America.
Yeah, but just take it on the police, period. She's stepping on their toes.
They want to cross her out of the system so she can't stand up for the preacher. Reached in the pool and grabbed me and pulled me out.
Imagine if this were you. You would want people to stand in your corner.
I lost my car. I lost my job. I lost my marriage. And I almost lost my mind for a little while.
It's just so much right now, Lord, and I'm just saying, why are you putting all of this on me? I'm about to break.
Hey, it's John Murray, the executive producer of the new Sherry Shepherd Talk Show.
This is your boy, Earthquake.
And you're tuned in to
Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Folks, Senator Chuck Schumer today posted a tweet where he announced the 200th federal judge confirmed during the Biden administration. The White House also put out a press release with regards to the 200th federal judge. Folks, this is the release that was put out. Today, we reached another milestone in the effort to protect the freedoms and liberties of all Americans, the confirmation of the 200th federal judge since I took office. But it's not just those 200 judges, folks. We have a significant number of African Americans who are federal judges. Pull the number up. Y'all got that? Folks, the numbers are clear when you talk about the judges. This is the largest number of Black federal judges ever appointed in the first term of a president. Okay, let me repeat that because some folk think, oh, it's just Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson. No, it is the largest number ever of black federal judges appointed by a president in one term. Some of y'all are saying, really? Yes, really. Yes, even more black federal judges appointed and confirmed under President Biden, as well as Vice President Kamala Harris, than even President Barack Obama. 58 total black judges, 37 black women. Joining us right now is a former federal judge, retired federal judge, Vanessa Gilmore. Judge, glad to see you. So I'm always trying to explain to folk who, oh, Obama's our forever president. No, he's not. He was only there 8 years. That's it. That's the total number. What's forever are federal judges because they can serve for life. That's the thing you pay attention to. And we talk about federal judges. We saw a Texas federal judge stop the Biden credit card charges being capped at $8. We saw a federal judge, a Trump federal judge in Amarillo rule on the abortion pill. So people that don't understand, you were one of them. Explain to people the power of one federal judge out of the more than 900 in the country.
Well, more than 900, Roland. In fact, there are 1,409 sitting Article 3. That is, Article 3 means appointed for life federal judges in the United States right now. And of that number, 59, less than 4%, are African-American women. The motivation, I believe, of President Biden to try to give a fair opportunity for women and people of color to be able to sit on these important seats, I think is motivated in part by a clear understanding of the gross disparity in terms of the numbers of African Americans and people of color, other people of color, and women that have traditionally been able to have opportunities to be on the federal bench. There are still 16 states in the United States that have absolutely no federal judges of color. And as you said, federal judges are sit in a powerful position. They are appointed, can be appointed for life. And the joke goes, you know, the difference between God and a federal judge, God doesn't think he's a federal judge. And so this is really an opportunity to equalize and to make the judiciary look like not just the United States, but even just to look like what lawyers, the population of lawyers look like in the United States. There are 1.3 million lawyers in the United States. 1 in 5 is a person of color, and 1/3 are women. And yet we do not have that same kind of representation in the federal judiciary. 70% are still men, and 78% are white judges. And so this is just an opportunity.
78% of all federal judges are white?
Are white. So this is an opportunity for President Biden to sort of step up and give people who have always been willing and able to serve an opportunity to serve.
Again, for the people in the back who don't quite understand, Donald Trump, 4% of all federal judges appointed by Donald Trump were black.
Yes, that 4%. If you looked at that chart that you just put up a moment ago, it showed the disparity in terms of the number of judges that were appointed by Presidents Obama. The next chart, I believe, Presidents Obama, Trump, and Biden. The first column on the far left represents the judges of color that were appointed and women that were appointed by President Obama. And then you get to the next one, Trump, and you see that red circle represents mostly white men that were appointed by President Trump. And then you get to Biden, and you see the vast disparity and diversity in terms of the number and the type of people that he has given an opportunity to be appointed to the federal bench for life. So you can see just by those charts right here at the bottom how vastly different. The chart at the top shows gender. Obama in the first column, Trump in the middle. You see it's the majority, more than 75% were men, and you see what we have now with President Biden. Very, very different in terms of the opportunities that President Biden has been able to give to people who have been willing to serve. Now he's giving them the ability to serve.
But it's not just Biden appointees. You got to have a Dem-controlled Senate to also confirm those judges. And so those two things go hand in hand. Now, if folk want to understand what Donald Trump is saying right now about federal judges, listen.
Then I called up my people and I said, I have a guy from New York who's an incredible lawyer, he's got the right temperament, he'd be a really great judge. Oh, good, sir. How old is he? I said, he's 69, sir. So he's going to be there for 2, 3, 4 years. We like people in their 30s, so they're there for 50 years or 40 years. We don't want, and as soon as they said that, I realized, yeah, they're exactly right.
My administration will again adopt rock-solid constitutional conservatives to be federal bench justices and judges, but in the mold of Antonin Scalia and Justice Clarence Thomas, who, by the way, right now is under siege by the radical left.
Yeah, under siege because he's taking gifts from white billionaires. Let's just be real clear. And the reason that distinction is important because he can mention Clarence Thomas, but he ain't talking about naming no black judges. Again, it's going to be largely white men. When I talk about the power, again, I grew up in Houston, and there have been thousands of federal judges since I was a kid, but the name William Wayne Justice sticks out because I heard his name every single day on the news because he oversaw the Texas prison system. So the power of federal judges is huge in this country, and I think too many people don't understand why who you vote for president and who you vote for a United States senator has a direct correlation to federal judges, and then those are the folks who are ruling on class action lawsuits, who are ruling on death penalty cases, and so federal judges matter.
Absolutely, Roland. You've hit the nail on the head in terms of that one. First of all, only senators that are of the same party as the president can recommend somebody to be nominated by the president to become nominated for a federal judicial position. So if there is a Democratic president, only Democratic senators can recommend somebody to the president to be nominated to the federal bench. So who those senators are matters just as much as who the president is matters. Because once those judges are appointed, they are deciding many important issues, like the ones that you raised, gun rights. They are considering issues relating to women's right to choose. They are considering and evaluating important environmental issues. In terms of the Clean Air Act and the Clean Water Act. They are deciding very important issues in terms of school choice. So there are a number of issues that are under the direct control of federal judges. And what people don't understand is that the federal trial judges make a lot of those decisions. Very, very few cases make it all the way to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court hears less than 60 cases a year. And so the 1,409 federal Article 3 judges that are making these decisions, the majority of them are on the trial and the appellate courts. Only about 60 cases make it all the way to the Supreme Court every year. So who is appointed to these federal trial and appellate courts is extremely, extremely important. And that largely depends on who the senators are and who the president of the United States is, because only senators of the same party as the president can make that recommendation.
Questions from the panel. Scott, you're first.
Hi, Judge. Scott Bolton here. My father was a state judge in Illinois before he passed away a few years back, and we would often debate the following issue: the politicalization of federal appointment of judges, Republicans' appointments, Democrat appointments. And when I say politicalization, what I mean is, well, a conservative Republican judge is going to give you conservative decisions, and a Democratic judge is going to give you these more liberal Democratic decisions that seem to be pro for the Democratic Party. He didn't believe that. He believed that generally that may be possible, but not necessarily. And we know the annals of history in the Supreme Court. There are a lot of conservative judges that were appointed by Republicans who turned out not to be the friend of a Republican president. Could you kind of comment on that debate and whether you agree or disagree with the debate I would have with my father?
Okay. And see, you would bring your dad in here now. He's not here to defend himself. That's not fair.
Right. I'm sorry.
But let me say this. I think that all of us need to recognize that we bring our own life experiences into the work that we do. Our ideology is largely informed by the kinds of life experiences that we have had. One of the things that has been important in recent years in terms of the kinds of classes and things that are being taught to federal judges is to understand our own implicit biases. And that is not something that had been largely discussed or even acknowledged in terms of the way that federal judges deal with and rule on matters that come before them. And so we've been really charged with the responsibility of looking at, analyzing and considering our own implicit biases in the work that we do, and in helping juries even understand their own implicit biases in terms of their responsibilities as jurors in our courts. And so I think to say that implicit bias and your own individual biases don't factor into your decision-making process is probably less than completely true, because I think that all of us have to acknowledge that we do bring our own set of experiences to the work that we do. Now, are we all still bound by the same law? Yes. Do we have different interpretations of how that law should be applied? Yes. And that's where we have to check ourselves and look at our own biases from time to time.
Rebecca?
Hi, Judge. Rebecca Carruthers. When I was in law school, there was a student group on campus that was a pipeline for those who were conservative and wanted to be future judges. That pipeline was called the Federalist Society. How do we create a pipeline for Black law students who are interested in becoming judges?
I think that, like you said, that's exactly right. The Federalist Society was that organization. But I think that the National Bar Association has done a lot towards helping shape young people who are interested in considering the judiciary as a career in the future. And I would encourage people to get involved in the National Bar Association and look at the things that they've done to create that same pipeline. Another organization that is critical that I'm involved in is called Just the Beginning. It is a pipeline organization that specifically targets students of color that are interested in the judiciary. It was founded by several judges in Chicago, Judge Ann Claire Williams and others, every other year we meet. The last time we met was 2 years ago in Chicago, and we have we call a program called Robes in the Schools, where we go out to schools in the communities that we meet in, specifically with the idea of encouraging people, encouraging young students of color to consider the judiciary as a career.
Well, you said the Federalist Society was, no, they still are very much involved, and that's what their total focus is, to train up multiple generations of right-wing federal judges. They're very clear about that. But this news is good, and again, we spend lots of time breaking this thing down, Judge Gilmore, and getting folk to understand. If you sit the election out, do understand that there are folks on the right. They know the power of federal judges.
Yes, absolutely.
And they vote accordingly based upon who that person is going to pick. So we better understand. And I tell all the folk out there who yell reparations and they say no vote, no tangibles. If you don't vote, you can't get your representative. And guess what? Not one Republican supports reparations. You ain't gonna get no Republican right-wing federal judges gonna go along with you. So if that's what you want, you better understand you're gonna need the right judges in place for a law gets passed, because it's gonna be a lawsuit, and you're gonna want judges ruling in your favor. But you ain't gonna believe me, but go ahead and mess around and see what happens if Donald Trump wins in November and then Alito and Thomas retires, and then they're able to lock down 6 federal judges for the next 50 years because that's what they want to do. Just saying. Just saying. Judge Gilmore, always a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate it. Got to go to a break. We come back. We're going to chat with Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. Oh, Lord, she got the whole internet talking after she roasted Marjorie Taylor Greene. I got a few more of those bleach blonde, bad-built, butch body videos to show you. Oh, y'all know we're going to have a little fun with that. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Black Star Network. Back in a moment. A lot of y'all have been asking me about the pocket squares that we have available on our website. You see me rocking the Shibori pocket square right here. It's all about looking different. And look, summertime is coming up. Y'all know, I keep trying to tell fellas, change your look, please. You can't wear athletic shoes every damn wear. So if you're putting on linen suits, if you're putting on some summer suits, have a whole different look. The reason I like this particular pocket square, the Shibori, is because it's sort of like a flower and looks pretty cool here versus the traditional boring silk pocket squares. But also I like being a little different as well. So this is why we have these custom-made feather pocket squares on the website as well. My sister actually designed these after a few years ago. I was in this battle with Steve Harvey at Essence, and I saw this at a St. Jude fundraiser. I saw this feather pocket square, and I said, well, I got some ideas. So I hit her, and she sent me about 30 different ones. And so this completely changes your look. Now, some of you men out there, I had some dudes say, oh, man, I can't wear that. Well, if you ain't got swagger, that's not my problem. But if you're looking for something different to spruce up your look, fellas, ladies, if y'all looking to get your man a good gift, I've run into brothers all across the country with the feather pocket squares saying, see, check mine out. And so it's always good to see them. And so this is what you do. Go to RolandSMartin.com/pocket squares. You can order Shibori pocket squares or the custom-made pocket squares. Now, for the Shiboris, we're out of a lot of the different colors, and I think we're down to about 200 or 300. So you want to get your order in as soon as you can, because here's what happened. I got these several years ago, and the Japanese company signed a deal with another company, and I bought them before they signed that deal, and so I can't get access to any more from the company in Japan that makes them. And so get yours now. So come summertime, when I see y'all at Essence, y'all could be looking fly with the Shibori pocket square or the custom-made pocket square. Again, RolandSMartin.com/pocket squares. Go there now.
Hello, I'm Marissa Mitchell, a news anchor at Fox 5 DC. Hey, what's up? It's Tammy Roman, and you are watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
We debuted the first edition of the Crockett Chronicles. Of course, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett got all the folk talking on social media when she lit up a Marjorie Taylor Greene that late night session. She joins us right now. No, not crazy ass Marjorie Taylor Greene, but Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. Boy, it's been quite a busy week for you.
It has.
Are you surprised what the response has been?
I am. I never could have anticipated we'd have skits and songs of all genres and memes for days on days. But I think it's great. I think that people have been looking for something to unite them against this MAGA bully. And I think that this was the moment.
And you're right. I mean, she's out there trashing people. She's always trying to, front people. As soon as she came to Congress, was just quite disruptive. And so somebody need to clap back on her.
Absolutely. And she, I think, has gotten to the point that she felt like nobody was going to check her. And so, historically, these spats have been more so with the Republicans face to face. Like she had the spat with Boebert. She also has obviously had plenty of spats with her own caucus as she was trying to oust the speaker just the previous week. So she's constantly into it with people, but she's usually not crossed the line and crossed over to actually trying to say something to a Democrat's face, except for obviously the things that she's done to the president during this most recent State of the Union and the State of the Union before that. But I don't know that she's ever met a black woman like me. I can't say very much about her upbringing or anything like that, but the fact that she said what she said and sat back and was like, I'm fine with what I did, I could not let that rest. So if she wasn't going to be forced to apologize or be kicked out, then I was going to have to make the chairman think about what the parameters were going to be going forward and let him know that I got some choice words that I could deliver if I chose to.
And then you have the people who, you should have, it's about decorum, you shouldn't have done that. And look, I get it. You know, I always talk about Michelle Obama says when they go low, we go high. I'm like, nah, you got to go here. If they going to hit you in the knee, hit them in the damn shin. And they going to hit you in the ankle, hit them in the bottom of the feet. Because you can't play footsie with these people. They don't care about norms. They don't care about values. And so it's like, you know what? If that's how you want to swing, let's swing.
Yeah, no, I mean, you're absolutely right. And, you know, this obviously is not something that has been done that often, if ever, when it comes to MTG. And so, you know, in that moment, all I was thinking about was how is it that I can claim that I'm going to represent almost 1 million people and fight for them every day and sit here and I won't even fight for myself. And you don't know how these things will hit. You don't know how your district will take it. But I can tell you that I've received plenty of encouraging messages directly from the district. And so, you know, but ultimately you find out really how your district feels about how you've governed when you get to the ballot box. So, you know, ultimately, my primary will take place almost 2 years from now. So I don't even know if they will still be talking about this. But I feel confident that my district is okay with the fact that I, as a black woman serving in a black district, decided to stand up for myself.
Well, I'm a voter in that district, and I'm perfectly fine with it. Let's go to our panel. Rebecca?
Congresswoman, thank you so much for being here today. 2 quick questions. One, what was going through your mind as it was happening in real time? And then my second question, a little bit more serious, is that you are in the seat of the late great Congresswoman Eddie Bernice Johnson. You're finishing up your first term. What do you want your legacy in Congress to be?
Absolutely. Thanks for the questions. So my first thoughts were not as eloquent. I will be honest. They were not. And, you know, when somebody comes at you wrong, you always have something that you're ready to say. So, honestly, my first thought was, if you had some lashes, you may still have your husband. That was like my first thing. But I restrained myself and said, I'm going to let the process work. And before I could say, we need to go ahead and take our words down, AOC jumped in. I appreciate my sister. She jumped in almost immediately. And as y'all could tell, AOC was fired up as well. And what y'all didn't know is Ayanna, my big sister, was sitting off camera and she was about ready to handle some folk as well. So I had plenty of good backup for her trying to come at me. And so as AOC and Jamie were dealing with Comer and were dealing with the advice of his parliamentarian, I was of the impression that we won. For me, a win is her not being in committee because we can get work done. Also, a win is her having to apologize, which, of course, she never wanted to do to a black woman specifically. So both of those were fine with me. She didn't have to do either one of those, though. And that's when I decided, and I looked over at her, and I was like, you bleached blonde. Like, I had all of this, like, and so I was writing it down and trying to get Comer's attention so that he would call on me so that I could not violate the rules, but show her that I could cut her deeper without ever talking to her. So that was what was going through my mind and how it all played out. As far as my legacy, I want my legacy to be one of fighting for the people. It's what I've always done, from being a public defender to being a civil rights lawyer. I have always pushed back and tried to make sure that I could open doors of opportunity for people that look like me to bust through and do greater things than I could have ever imagined. I talk to young people all the time about the fact that I really want them to take my seat. I want them to go in and be the amazing people that they are in this generation. And so I don't plan to stay for decades. I have no aspirations to do that whatsoever. But instead, I make sure that we have tons of interns. We make sure that we're training them up, educating them. And my hope is that I won't be representing this small fraction of a fraction of a fraction of black women that have served in Congress, but instead the numbers start to be more reflective of what the numbers are in this country.
Scott?
Yeah, hey, Congresswoman A. Scott Bolden. You know, as a lawyer, questions can be more piercing than statements. And while most people say that you called her that, you actually put that in a question to Comer. I didn't miss that as a fellow lawyer, which in my opinion was just brilliant. It's like going in the back door if the judge won't let you go in the front door. So I admire you for that. I want you to talk about how difficult it is. Like, where do you go from here? And how difficult it is to work in Congress, to get things done for your district or for all of us when you really don't have a viable political party on the other side. Democracy needs two strong parties, and you're in Congress, and you got to work with people to get stuff done. But the Republicans don't seem to be interested in getting stuff done. They seem to be interested in kind of power and winning and going after the other side. So can you just kind of talk about, one, where you go from here, and two, how do you matriculate in that very difficult environment, notwithstanding the irrelevance of Congresswoman or MTG?
Yeah, so great question. And I'll be honest and tell you that I have absolutely built better coalitions than MTG has probably ever dreamed. So while I'm the minority, just last week, or actually, I think it was the same week. So yeah, so last week, I was able to get a bill out of oversight committee of all committees in a bipartisan way, because it was just good legislation. It is still difficult to get good legislation out, but I understand where the middle resides. Right now, one of my best partners is actually my senior senator from Texas. You know, Cornyn approached me and said, I don't want you to have to go and look for a Democrat to carry the bill if you are actually coming up with legislation that is good for Texans. And so he's carrying a number of my bills and has actually been a huge champion of some of my legislation. So, you know, I understand how government works, and I want it to work in any way that it can. Right now, we're in obviously divided government, which means I won't get some of maybe my landmark legislation passed, but I still want to get things done. And there are still a few Republicans that want to get things done. They are becoming lesser and lesser by the day. But I think that I've been somewhat effective. We also were able to get monumental legislation into the FAA Reauthorization Act that really flew under the radar, thank God. But this was funding to make sure that hopefully we can increase the number of African Americans and Hispanics that are entering aviation, which can be very expensive, but can obviously be very lucrative. And so we set up a situation where basically there will be full rides for those attending land-grant HBCUs as well as HSIs to go into aviation. In this crazy anti-DEI environment, we were able to get that done because we were working with everybody that mattered. So I do want people to know that we are working. This is just one of those aberrations. But even in the midst of somebody coming at me, I can defend myself. And honestly, I've had Republicans coming up to me. Now, they probably won't go on Fox News and say anything. But, you know, one of the Republicans today was like, I love your lashes. Like, I mean, you know, they're good. Like, they're not mad at me. I've gotten winks and thumbs up from, like, female Republicans, like everyone was waiting on somebody to go in on her.
So what do you say or do, like when you go to you run into Marjorie, you run into Green on the hall or in the bathroom, other than putting your hands on her? What do you say? What do you think? Or do you just ignore her? I'm very practical in my practice. I mean, it just got to be a difficult circumstance. But, you know, what do you do? Or have you? Have you run into her since that?
Yeah, you're tripping.
That's a compound question. Forgive me.
No, we don't communicate. We never really. And because Democrats sit on one side, Republicans sit on another, we have different doors to enter, whether we're entering the floor or whether we're entering the committee. So you don't necessarily have to interact like that. But today was my first committee hearing back in oversight, and she did not show up. And it's my understanding that she didn't show up to her Homeland Committee either today. So I'm not really sure where she is, but committee was a lot smoother without her. So she, as I'm concerned, I think everybody was happy. So yeah.
All right. Well, you know, she's got something really unique. She seems to have pissed off in a very divided Congress and a very divided political status in America, that she's pissed off Democrats and Republicans. That's got to be a first, in my opinion, given how divided we are as a country.
She has, but nevertheless, I think I was told that she's their 5th highest fundraiser. The people that are higher than her are all in leadership. And so she does this for dollars, nothing else. This is the only reason that she does it. And so it's really disappointing that her behavior is consistently rewarded in the form of money. But when we look at polling, she actually polls the lowest of any Republican. She polls lower than the speaker. She polls lower than everybody. So when you look in a consensus type world, honestly, the majority of people do not like her in this country. But she has a solid group of people that will put their $2 and $3 behind her versus, you know, having a similar group of people that love, say, some of the Democrats and will put their $2 and $3 and $5 behind us.
Yeah, sad but true. But thank you for being there for all of us.
I understand that you have trademarked bleach, blonde, bad, built, butch body. True?
Yes. So we filed for the trademark. And just to be clear, we did not file in my personal capacity. I filed under the campaign. And that was because this is becoming something that's in demand. And so the idea of people profiting, that's not really what I'm doing. I'm definitely not profiting in Congress. It's a poor existence, to be clear. But, you know, I'm a lawyer. Some people think I just play one on TV, but in real life, I'm a lawyer, and I was a business major as well, undergrad. And so with recognizing the demand, for me, this was an opportunity to turn lemons into lemonade and make sure that what she meant for bad, God meant for good, and we could actually use the money based on the demand that people are making on these T-shirts and all the other merch to actually put that towards my reelection, along with me being able to support other candidates to make sure that we take the House.
All right, then. Well, it has been quite an interesting week. And so I saw, last question, out of all the different ones you've seen and heard, your favorite?
I don't know. There's so many good ones. There's so many good ones. One of my colleagues said she was in the DR this weekend and they started playing one of the songs. And then I got a video this morning because they were playing it on the radio this morning. They were playing a couple of versions on the radio this morning in Dallas. So I'm excited about the music. Keep the music coming, especially since it's so educational. But yeah, this gives people something to look forward to, and hopefully people are recognizing that it's not just the presidency, but it's looking all the way down the ballot. It's looking at who's running for U.S. rep and state rep and things like that. And hopefully they will be encouraged to do some research and get out there and vote for great candidates.
Well, it was quite interesting because like the first day, Keenan on my team, he put together one with AI real quick. Y'all had that one ready? Okay, he did a remix. Okay, play his remix.
Bleach blonde, bad built, butch body, shut your trap. Jealous of my style, cause you know I got that snap. Talking loud, online, you ain't built for that scrap. Keep your distance, I ain't dealing with your cap. You think you slick, tryna flex with your fake gold. All that botched up, surgery, you look old. Bleach blonde, she dyed, roots showing real bold. Ain't got no shape, but acting tough, man, you cold. Whispers in the crew, you know you can't relate. Bad built, botched up, jealousy's your trait. Can't fake the
Alright, so he put that one together. Did you hear the gospel one?
Yes, I love it. It's so amazing.
Y'all roll that one. Roll that one.
She got a bleach blonde, bad blue butch body. She got a bleach blonde, bad blue butch body. That Marjorie Taylor Greene looked like a lima bean. I forgot she had a bleach blonde, bad blue butch body. Representative Jasmine's about that line. She about that, and she looks like she can really fight. An amazing politician, ain't got no competition. Ain't worried about a bleach blonde, bad built butch body. Marjorie tried to cause a scene, forgot she had a butch body. Marjorie tried to cause a scene, forgot she had a butch body. Marjorie tried to cause a scene, forgot she had a butch body. Marjorie tried to cause a scene, forgot she had a butch body. Black women with lashes, they won't give you gashes. Black women with lashes, they won't give you gashes. Black women with lashes, they won't give you gashes. Don't come for us unless we sit for you. She got a bleach blonde, bad built butch body. She got a bleach bad built butch body. A bleach blonde, bad built butch body. She got a bleach bad built butch body.
Did one.
Say it again.
Isaac Hayes' son did one.
Oh, I know. It was called the clapbacks. Roll it.
Yes. He did one.
Roll the clapbacks.
She's a bleach blonde, bad built butch body. She's a bleach blonde, bad built butch body. She's a bleach blonde, bad built butch body. And she better not talk about nobody. Marjorie Taylor Greene is built like a shake machine. Nick notes in the face, cereal box in the waist. She better learn her place, cause she's about to catch a case. Talk about a black woman's lash, she'll definitely whoop your ass. She better get her face right, cause she looks like a pack of Bud Light. Oh, yeah. Bad built butch body. She's a bleach blonde, bad built butch body. She's a
probably the one. So that's that old school sound. The Brother King Walonius, I gotta admit.
That one. That one is that's so good.
Yo, I was flying to Palm Springs for Anthony Anderson's 6th annual Celebrity Golf Classic on Saturday. Let me just say, I probably had that playing at least an hour on the plane. Roll it. I don't have that. How y'all don't have that? That was one of the first ones.
I know.
What is wrong with y'all? I see, Congresswoman, I told the staff, pull all of them. I told them, pull all of them. But see, it's all this whining y'all in my ear right now don't mean nothing. But yeah, but guess what? I'm always prepared. So yeah, roll it. Just pull the audio up. How y'all ain't have it ready?
No, this is a goof. The organ getting me.
She built like a
the country version?
The country version was really good, but I love the ones where Comer is like, a what now?
Y'all got any one of those in there?
Oh my goodness.
All right, let me hear that one. Let me hear that one. I need to hear that one. First of all, let's see that one too. Go ahead, go.
Bleach blonde, bad built, bleach blonde, bad built, bleach blonde, bad built, butch body.
A what now?
Sway.
A what now?
Sway, the weed makes God.
Bleach blonde, bad built, bleach blonde, bad built, bleach blonde, bad built, butch body.
A what now?
Bleach blonde, bad built, bleach blonde, bad built, bleach blonde, bad built, butch body. I'm just curious. Bad built, bad built, bad built, bad built, bad built, bad built, butch body.
A what now?
Bad built, bad built, bad built, bad built.
Oh my God.
Bad built, butch body, butch
Yo,
body.
the creativity of people is amazing. This thing has taken off quickly.
Yes. Yeah. I'm appreciative. It's great. I you know what, for the first time in a long time, a lot of people that haven't been engaged in politics, they're engaging. So again, what she meant for bad, God meant for good. So I'm excited that people now are like, wait a minute, now what channel can I watch the hearings on?
Well,
tuning into C-SPAN.
Well, and here's the deal. We carry those hearings as well. So I've already made it clear to our folk, every time there's one of these hearings, and you look, you only get 5 minutes, right?
Yes.
All right. So every time there's a hearing, we gonna have the full 5 minutes and run it on the show. And I told Carol, I said, 'cause look, I've had an open invitation to every CBC member since I launched 5.5 years ago, and most of them never take it up. We are more than welcome to have a weekly segment called the Crockett Chronicles, talking about whatever you want to talk about. So all you got to do, just have your people tell Carol, hey, this week I can come on Wednesday, this week I can come on Friday. And so that's every single week we can have the Crockett Chronicles to talk about what's popping. And of course, we having fun, joking, but there's also real policy stuff we can talk about. So we're looking forward to making that happen.
Absolutely. I appreciate you.
All right. Congressman, hold up. I got real quick. Y'all pull the photo up of that fake Delta in Georgia. Congresswoman, did you see this? Did you see this here? This woman right here is a state representative in Georgia. Old girl has been fronting saying she's a Delta. The Deltas put out a letter. Okay, apparently she ran for re-election. And she was running against a Delta. Can't nobody see that letter, y'all. She was running against a Delta. Well, what happened was the Deltas had to put out a letter stating she was not. They have no records whatsoever to support her being a member. Now, there was a woman she was running against who is a Delta, and they said she was a certified member of Delta Sigma Theta. So now you a Delta, how you feel about a homegirl down in Georgia fronting that she's a Delta?
She clearly knows nothing about Delta, because one thing the Delta does is stand on business. Baby, you was never going to get too far, not in the public limelight with that fraud going on.
Now, she won. She won, but the Deltas have put out a letter saying they can't find no evidence anywhere that homegirl. She literally she literally posted this on Delta's Founders Day. Straight up.
Yeah, no. But I'm saying there's no way you can be in the public life and Delta not know who you are and be clear whether or not you're a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Delta knows me very well. They know. They got all my records. So I don't even know why she tried to play with Delta. And that's got to be embarrassing, because it's got to make her constituents think, if you would lie about something like this, what else are you lying about?
Yo, that was absolutely crazy. So, woo, that was a trip right there. Congresswoman Crockett, I appreciate it. My parents at my house here in Virginia because my niece graduated, so they kicking it. So I'm sure because
Send them my love.
Because they constituents too, since they living at my house. So they are always down there working the campaign. So I'm sure they quite enjoyed this segment.
I appreciate them.
All right, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
See you later.
All right, Rebecca Scott. It's crazy how this bleach blonde, bad built butch body thing is taking off, Rebecca. That's pretty wild.
I mean, I applaud her for all the alliteration. Like when she was saying it, in my mind, I heard the 6B, which is the B word, when she said that. But you know what? She had to keep it classy. And, good for her for using this as a moment to be a tool to really introduce people into politics and policy. Good for her taking this moment. And I hope that as she continues to grow in the Congress, she could bring more people into the process to make Congress accessible to all. So good for her.
Scott?
Alliteration strikes again. Alliteration. You know what alliteration is, Roland? If you don't, it's where you use several words with the first consonant for each word. So very effectively used. So God bless her.
Such as bolded is always boring and brief. You mean like that?
No.
You mean that alliteration?
What? How do you come up with that alliteration, though? Like
what?
That's not like in my vernacular. Bad bleach, bond, butch ass body.
You mean bolding, being broad, never brief.
Whatever.
Do you want me to go with a series of B's? Do you want me to go with a series of B's dealing with you?
No, but what I'm saying is, how did she come up with those 5 B's? It's not in your lexicon. It's not in your vernacular.
Easy. She was sitting there taking notes, and she was like, "Man, dog, I'm doing this old bleach blonde, bad built butch." But first of all, she done said it before. So hell, it was like now it's time to use it.
Exactly.
Now it's time to use it.
Right, because it rolled off her lips. Like
I love
she had used it before. It rolled. It wasn't struggle. There was no struggle with it.
I absolutely love it. So I'm good with it. Rebecca Scott, we appreciate y'all being on today's show. Thank you so very much. We're going to go.
It's after 8, too. You can't keep us after 8 like this, man. You got to start paying us, Roland.
It's 8:07. Calm your ass down.
Yeah, well,
it's 8:07. Calm your Kappa ass down.
Whatever. I gotta go though, man. I love you.
I said bye. Right. Your ass still talking. See, never brief Bolden.
Until Wednesday.
That's your new nickname, NBB. Never brief Bolden.
Thank you, Roland, for the opportunity.
We're gonna get a T-shirt. Never brief Bolden.
What's her name? What's her name?
That's Rebecca.
You'll never go after her the way you go after me. I don't like it.
Easy.
I don't appreciate it.
That's Rebecca. Always keep that shit tight, Carruthers.
Oh, she talked forever. What are you talking about?
You are aloysius, never brief Bolden. Everybody in the group chat, they go, "Here come long-winded ass Scott."
Well, I had something to say. I got a lot of shit on my mind.
Yeah, okay. All right. Call somebody. All right. I appreciate it. Thanks a bunch. All right, y'all, we're going to go to a quick break. And we come back. Reverend William Barber literally just hit me. He's like, listen, I need to come on. I thought he meant like tomorrow. He's like, no, tonight. So y'all call him right now. But also, James Brown of CBS was honored. Forget the break. I'm going to play this right now. James Brown of CBS was honored with a Lifetime Emmy Award. Here is his speech. Yep, play the video. Forget the break. I'm going to play this right now. Hold on. I told y'all to pull it. Okay, I ain't waiting on y'all. Let me just go ahead and get it myself. I'll be a lot faster. I don't know how y'all... What, y'all didn't pull it? Y'all didn't pull it? Mm-hmm. Thought so. I told y'all to pull it. See? Go to my iPad.
Even more in common. So I am so honored to present this Lifetime Achievement Award to JB, which is so totally deserved, and to pay him the greatest compliment I ever could. He reminds me of my father.
Just recently retired. I thank you so much for taking time out with Tracy to come here and to introduce me, and you already know what I feel about you. Thank you so much. Sean asked me, please, JB, don't cry, and I'm going to do my best. Lifetime Achievement Award. You know what, in my mind, I guess the ex-athletes here can relate to this. I've always had a free agent's mentality. It was never a guaranteed contract, so I give it my best each and every time out. And I was asking, how could I even qualify for this recognition when, at least in my mind, again, I'm only at the midpoint of my career, Stephen. But when I looked at the Charlie Bloom produced video and the number and variety of events that I've been blessed to cover, certainly the people with whom I've worked, the hairline that I used to have, and my desperate pursuit for a six-pack that is still hidden under this enormous one-pack here, I guess I have in fact been at this already for quite some time. But I'm crystal clear that this award is absolutely not about me, but the legions of people who have poured into me. I love all of my colleagues at CBS. They're awesome people, and they know I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I think about the people who have invested in me, starting first with my mother and father. My father was a prison guard at a local prison, and my mother, wow, we called her the sergeant because she was no nonsense. We didn't call her that to her face, but we did call her the sergeant. She was the excellent homemaker that she always desired to be. They were high school graduates who I like to say had PhDs in drive and determination, and who modeled for us what perseverance and perspiration could indeed accomplish for anyone. I truly wish they could be here tonight to see this. The reason I know that this is not about me is because I look at Chris Collinsworth and so many others, and I'm not going to look you in the face because I promised I wouldn't cry. I've truly worked with some exceptional talent, and my focus has always been to ensure that their talent and insight was showcased, setting others up for success. It is a principle, and I am unashamed in saying I root any principles, if you will, precepts in Scripture, because that's the truth for me. And it's underscored in the Scripture that is found in Philippians 2 and 3, which says, in lowliness in mind, esteem others more highly than yourself. In the world of team sports, there's no question that success, no surprise, it's all about team, the many members who make up the team. Studio shows are just like that. Mike Tirico knows that. For me, that focus, that point is emphasized in the scripture found in Ephesians 4:16, in which the example of the human body is used, stating that it is made up of many different members, many different parts, and every part contributes to the fervent, effectual working of the whole body. So even though I see myself as the little finger in any operation, I know that I still need to function at my best in order for the entire body to be at its best. And I can only hope, Joe Buck, that I've accomplished a little bit of that at times. So while I am indeed more than humbled to be honored tonight, I know that the real honor indeed goes to my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. I'm unabashed. I don't try to beat people over the head with the Bible. I just try to model what I know are truths for me. Because in Psalm 75, 6 and 7, it says, promotion doesn't come from the east, nor the west, nor the south. God is truly the judge. He puts down one and he sets up another. He has blessed me tonight to have my daughter here, Katrina Walker, even though she was most excited about meeting Scott Van Pelt, Mina Kimes, and Kimberly Martin more than even me. At least I know I get to share this award, as Sean mentioned, with my wife, my incredible wife, Dorothy, the heart of our family, and whose unwavering support and boundless love inspires me every day. And in this room with a lot of testosterone, if you think, in fact, I'm a well-trained husband, I am. And I'm good with that. To Natus, thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Folks, right now on our other stream right now is a prayer vigil that is being held for Marilyn Mosby. Come on, guys, switch it. What's happening tomorrow, she's going to be sentenced beginning at 10:30 a.m. And so this is the prayer vigil. Just pull the audio up.
And your protection as she stands in the crosshairs of an unjust system led by unjust people who carry agendas personal and professional, individual and systemic, open and hidden in plain sight. In this crucial and trying time, we ask you to undergird our sister, your daughter, with your strong arm. May she know and feel your comfort, your strength, and your avenging presence surrounding her. No, God, we selfishly ask for your strength for ourselves as we navigate assault after assault, slings and arrows, as we fight the righteous fight of justice, as we bear witness to the violence inflicted on Black bodies and Black minds. Though we sometimes grow weary, heavy-laden, and overwhelmed, help us to remember that you are still God, that you are still our God, that you are still a strong tower, that you are still righteous, that you are still the rock, that you are still our provider, that you are still able, that you are still our source, that you are still our peace, that you are still our God. And finally, God, we pray for those in whose earthly hands this decision and the fate of our sister rests. Prick their conscience, disturb their rest. Speak to them in their waking, resting, breathing, and sleeping hours. Give them courage to rise and to stand in integrity and on principle. Give them wisdom and clarity of thought. Remind them of their responsibility and their obligation to do justice and to love mercy. We, your sons and daughters, we claim justice. We claim victory. And because we ask these things in your strong and mighty name, we declare that it is so. And all of God's children say, amen and amen.
Amen. Thank you. Amen. And thank you, Bishop Daughtry. Bishop William Barber is here from the College of Affirming Bishops. Bishop Barber, you still with us?
I am.
Please, sir. Please, we welcome you in prayer.
Let us join all of us in one heart and one prayer, one mind. God, your word in Exodus 23 says that we are to stay far from false charges and hypocrisy. We are not to kill the innocent and the righteous. For you, O God, you said you will not acquit those who devise wicked plans. Tonight, as we come in prayer, we are praying that you would shake up the plans of those who would engage in falsehoods and hypocrisy against our sister. That whatever the plans may be to hurt her, the end would be far from those plans. Whatever the plans are to use the judicial system for vengeance, that the outcome would be far from those plans. Whatever plans there are to try to make an example out of her because of where she has stood in the past and what systems she has chosen to take on, let the final outcome be far from the intended plans of those who do not have righteousness on their minds or in their plans. And then, God, we pray that somewhere in their hours of being alive and thinking, that they would hear your word, that you do not acquit the wicked, that which you sow, you reap, that when you use the systems that are meant for justice, for purposes of injustice, that in the grand scheme of things, somehow what you have done comes right back where you are. We do not wish that on anyone, but we wish that they would hear that there is a certain justice in the universe itself, that it might bend long, but it does bend toward justice. And finally, God, we pray for our sister. Yes, she's a justice warrior. Yes, she's a DA. Yes, she has stood as a DA. Yes, she has fought battles. But she's a mama. And we pray, God, for her. For we know as a mother, her concern has to be all about her children and the what ifs. And we pray for those daughters. We pray that you would wrap your arms around them. And for that alone, if for nothing else, we pray that whatever plans folk have schemed up, that by your power, by your mercy, by your grace, by your truth, the wrong that was planned would be far from what ends up, that you would confuse the plans of the enemy and the wicked and the unrighteous, and that you would bless in a way that proves that we do not fight these battles alone. Hold her, keep her children, keep her attorneys, keep all of those that are around. We ask this in the name of him who was found on trumped up charges and even crucified and thought to be put away forever. But out of that, you brought resurrection, life, and truth. You are the God of resurrection, life, and truth. Manifest your power again in this moment. For we ask it in his name, the name of Jesus. Amen.
Again, over on our YouTube channel, you can actually check out that prayer vigil, which is happening live. That is it for us, folks. We appreciate you being on today's show. Tomorrow, I'm going to have for you some of the footage from Anthony Anderson's 6th annual Celebrity Golf Classic. Don't forget to support us in what we do. Join the Bring the Fun fan club. Send your check and money order. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 2003 7-0196. Cash App, $RM Unfiltered, PayPal, or Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Download the Boxer Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. And be sure to get my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds, available bookstores nationwide. Get the audio version on Audible. That's it. I'll see y'all tomorrow, folks. Holla! Black Star Network is here.
Oh, no punch! I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Black Star Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?